Let's go.
1, 2, 3, go. People, the lockdown is back.
Like we never left.
Back and blacker than ever.
Oh. She said we should say
Welcome
we're black.
back.
Welcome black.
We always black. People, it's Black History Month.
Yes.
Today is a very special day also because it's Mental Health Awareness Day. Was that a prayer you were saying?
Yes. I was hit by the spiritual enlightenment, and it was just emotional.
I see.
Yeah, and I had to put some smiles on the ladies' faces, obviously, because we're about to get into some serious topics, and you know me, I'm the balancer. I'm the one that throws the water in the pond.
Uh-huh.
Did you get it?
And then you
throw the water in the pond.
Okay. And then what do you do after that when it's in the pond?
You bring sand to the beach.
Okay. So, like we're saying, people, today is Mental Health Awareness Day, and we've got a confession to make. Basically, we're recording this on the day.
These are my confessions.
We've had quite a number of setbacks trying to get this episode
He's gonna
out.
tell the truth for once. Oh,
no, we have, and I think it kind of sums up also the conversation because there has been so much pain. We've had to go through to try to get this out, but we're going to do it. And I guess if at first you don't succeed,
try again.
Why do you have to laugh though? That put me off with him trying to say try again.
Sometimes you just have to laugh.
No, but
no, he said
why do you have to laugh at the end? I was gonna say try again because I knew you ladies were gonna say try again. But this is the thing me and him has. No, we don't need to retake. This one here stays on. This is part of what we do.
Okay.
So sometimes you've got it, sometimes you ain't. But yo, people, I'm with my boy the Lok.
And I'm with my guy, that guy Don.
You know I'm that guy, right?
Bro, you that guy.
That guy. And you know what? I have one thing to say. To be fair, I think it's good that we're still doing this, despite the fact that we might not actually get it out for Mental Health Awareness Day, because let's face it, mental health issues that everybody face, it don't just come one day a year, does it?
No.
Just like Black History Month doesn't really, we're not black just 1 month a year, are we? So
black every day.
Exactly.
Speak for yourself.
And there's a special lockdown Black History podcast that we've just done, Black History Month podcast that we've just done, and in that we vowed that we are going to continue Black History Month, from this month through to November, through to February, to
all
line
year
up.
round.
Are we gonna go past February?
We said past.
We did, didn't it?
Yeah.
But we said we're gonna stop by March or something like that.
Yeah, no. We said we'll give a little break on February so we can let the guys that with their side chicks enjoy February.
Oh yeah, and that was it. That was exactly what we said. But yo, because me and the Lok, we're not trained professionals.
Yes. You can see, because look, we're not trained professionals, and look, we're putting the trained professionals almost out of character. But one of them is, I'm still ready to break her in.
Break her in how?
Make her smile, laugh a bit.
Okay, well,
that's it. That's the one. Get it out. Release.
What laughter is? What is it that you said?
Medicine.
Medicine. That is it. Yeah.
Medicine.
Exactly. You're young, yeah. Seriously.
You have more muscles. You use more muscles to crying, being sad, than you do smiling.
That's the expert.
That's why they're here.
So people, please let me introduce you to Martina and Mariama.
Double M's.
Could you tell the viewers who is Martina, who is Mariama, and perhaps a bit about yourselves?
Okay, my name is Martina Dumbuya. But all my family calls me Mabinti, which is my paternal grandmother's name. So
Mabinti.
Yes, that's what everyone calls me.
I like that. I really like that name.
I currently work in the healthcare department within the Her Majesty's prisons. I have 2 degrees actually. I have one in criminology and international politics, and I've got one in addictions counselling.
Thank you, Martina. I'm Abinti. And to your left, we have the lovely.
Hi everyone, my name is Mariama Dumbuya. I'm originally from Sierra Leone. I came to this country when I was around eight years old. I studied popular culture and media at Derby University, and I'm currently studying psychology and counselling at Roehampton University. My sister, we decided to create sovereign counseling.
Oh, we're gonna get into that.
Okay.
We're gonna get into that. So Baby Marie, you know, I have your name saved as Baby Marie in my phone. That's gotten me in trouble a few times, like
Seriously.
who's Baby Marie? Like, like when a woman's talking to you when they're mad, like their tone of voice,
They're like a man.
Changes, innit?
What do you mean? What do you mean who's Baby Marie?
His best friend, his cousin, his sister.
Nice.
I'm just known as Baby Marie because I was named after my grandma from my mother's.
Oh, so because she's Big Marie and you're Baby Marie.
Exactly.
Oh.
So even my
see?
nieces now, they will call me nephews, Auntie Baby Marie.
Oh, Auntie Baby Marie. So if you guys have another Marie, would you call it Baby Marie?
No, I don't think I'll name my children after.
Oh, why?
It's just because
That's so
they're going to
sweet.
be original.
Yeah,
That
I
makes
think
me
when
feel
you,
bad because
but
I've
no,
named my kids after.
I strongly believe if you name a child after somebody, you've got
Yeah.
to be careful because they develop that character of that individual,
Mm.
and they kind of really, develop. And sometimes you just got to be
Aspects of that
careful who you
person's
name your
personality.
kids.
Oh, okay.
Is that just like a old folks tale,
Yeah,
or
it
is that
is.
actually
I think.
true?
I think it's true. There's some element in if whether it's psychological, but I think if a child grows up or spiritual, I don't know, but if a child grows up knowing I'm named after this person, you will see. I think if you study hard and you look hard, you'll see traits of
So Baby
those
Marie,
characters
are
and
you
stuff.
like your grandma?
Yeah, in terms of being independent, hardworking.
So it could be a good thing
Yeah.
then.
Yeah, so it has the
I was
positive
named
and the
after Michael
negative.
Jackson. I don't see no Michael Jackson influences on me.
Well, I saw it in primary school. I did see a few moves that you were doing,
Yeah.
and I
Well.
saw some of the girls go, "Ha ha, Michael." So there was some resemblance.
So there you go.
Still,
You see?
I
So
like
anything
that.
you have the good and the bad, the negative and the
Yes.
positive.
Yes. Oh, thank you.
Well, people, I want to actually talk a bit about Martina and Mariama's company because they are Black entrepreneurs, Black women entrepreneurs. And first of all, congratulations for that.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
And
yes.
I think what's remarkable for me is what you've actually set your business up to do, because I think we need more people like you to be shown on the TV for us to hear about, so other Black youths can feel motivated, can feel like, actually, you know what, I can actually set up a business in these types of services, because we do need more services like the one that you have. And please tell us a bit more about the service that you've created and you offer. Also, the name of the business. Sorry.
Okay. Our business is called Sovereign Care and Counseling Services, and it came about as a childhood dream of mine. Growing up, I've always had people, family, friends talk to me about their issues or situations, and they seem to find comfort in listening to what I have to say to them. And so I've always spoken to my sister about going in the fields of psychology and mental health, using that natural gift that we have. Even my mother, she's like that, always able to help people and be there for people and develop it into a business. And we decided to create the company and get the education that we need to actually allow us to be amazing at what we do.
That's good. You know what? It's amazing that your sister actually agreed with that vision. You don't find that much.
What, siblings agreeing or?
Yeah, agreeing in having the same vision and walking that same path, because obviously slightly you went a bit slightly different. Obviously she went more into it first, and you went slightly different, but then you still joining back into each other and creating this what you've created now. So it's just amazing to see that.
Yeah, because I think yes, it's been kind of on the back end, I guess. Even though we've discussed it, it really never really materialized. And I think Mariama kind of just wanted to explore probably other options, but ultimately, I think we got drawn into what we really kind of want to do and what our passions and is about. So at the end, it worked out. Yeah.
Okay. So you both run a counseling service business.
Yeah.
Now, I want us to kind of get into counseling and find out what it is and how it can actually help us. But let's start off by talking about mental health. We're going to get deep, and I hope this conversation helps somebody out there that's listening. Um, and I don't know, I hope the services that we're speaking about, if you do feel you can benefit from it, you make use of it. So, people, let's go around. I kind of what I feel like mental health, because it's such a broad subject, it may have a different meaning to different people. So maybe if we start from Mariama, explaining perhaps what mental health means to you, and then we'll work it back down to me.
Mental health, there's so many different types. Some people don't even know that they're suffering or going through any form of mental health issues because it's been normalized. Say if you're being financially abused by a significant other or family or friends, being talked to in an aggressive manner, being abused verbally, physically, um, can cause mental health because it can make you sink into depression, suicidal thoughts, anxiety, and just frustration, which can cause you to forget things like dementia. You can forget to bathe, to eat, to take care of yourself, and yeah, such things have been normalized. Unfortunately, I can speak of the African community because most of the times when people are in physical abusive relationships, you're often told that, oh, it's because he loves you.
Mm.
That's why he's hitting you. If he's not jealous of who you are, or that means, he doesn't care for you. So usually women tend to feel like if a guy assaults them or physical towards them, whether emotionally, physically, financially, it's a term of endearment and it's not. That's abuse. Love doesn't hurt.
Ooh, it does. Not abusively, but But anyways, that was deep.
It was Martina.
Yeah.
How about you? What is mental health?
First of all, kind of mental illness is not being able to cope with your emotions. So therefore, kind of mental health is finding the balance of how to deal with these feelings and emotions that we feel, and being able to kind of really deal with it and have a balance between the two. So even though you go through some of these difficult emotions, but finding a way to cope with them that isn't harmful to yourself or to others.
How about you, Lok?
Bro, I'm not
Sure.
gonna sit here and pretend like if I know what I'm talking about, because we're in the presence of two very intelligent. Uh, yes,
We're learning.
no, but you're
Learning
very
whenever we
intelligent
go.
Thank
in
you.
the sense of of what you know. Intelligence don't mean like Einstein. You understand? Like
Mm-hmm.
knowledgeable women that are in this field. So slightly for me, mental health. I'm ex-military. I've had a lot of friends being disturbed with mental health. And I think mental health for me is like it's almost like sometimes addiction as well can cause addictions. So I can't elaborate more on that because obviously I don't want to blabber on, but I'm learning and I'm sitting here. It's amazing just to hear you guys talk.
Oh, I mean, what do you mean? Elaborate a little bit. What do you mean by addiction? Causes addiction?
Causes addiction, drug addiction, sex addiction, depression. You know, what the
So some
fuck
people
did you
use
have
that
to
to cope with the
smirk?
pain, to forget the
Yes,
memories.
yes, yeah.
Yeah, I understand what you meant. What you meant. You know what? It's funny. I think for me, you all kind of touched upon like I feel like very serious topics or aspects of mental health,
Mm,
and not saying that what I'm saying perhaps is not serious, but I generally tend to feel like sometimes as it's not on a pedestal, it's not put up as like one of the most serious consequences. And for me, I feel like my mental health just comes very sporadically. Sometimes I just don't want to do anything, and I don't know what it is, why it is. I know things needs to get done, but I just don't want to do shit, you know. And it's like I try to figure out what's wrong, and I don't know. Like, and sometimes I feel like probably a lot of people go through the same thing, and sometimes I'm just there trying to comfort myself and think, okay, look, my life ain't that bad. So what is the issue? And after when I snap out of it, I realize, do you know what? If I couldn't explain why I was feeling like that, is that something then I was going through that's related to mental health? My mind wasn't in the right place. So I tend to think of generally people that just has these unexplainable moments where they're not really feeling themselves. They're not really feeling their motivational self, and they just want to like maybe stay in bed, watch a movie,
wow.
or you know what I mean. But of course, like I said, that I think everything else you all said are, um, I feel like they're perhaps more important than my
Everything is
example.
important.
Yeah, I think they're equal. They're equally important. Sometimes people go through those bouts of depression and not knowing what's wrong. But sometimes we're tired of trying to be strong for everybody else.
Mm.
And it just you just get to that frame of mind where it's like, okay, it's sometimes it's just too much, and
Mm.
your body just isn't connecting. And all you want to do is just hide away from the world and just not do anything. So I think it doesn't matter what label you want to put on it, but I think n- no matter how you're feeling, all of it is important and should be recognized because everybody goes through it differently. Might be, my depression may not present itself the way your depression presents itself. So it doesn't mean because we experience it differently doesn't make it any less important for you or me. Do you know what I mean?
And I think that's probably why don't I wouldn't really speak about it, because it's like it's so I feel like first of all I feel like it will be difficult for anybody to understand me when I'm going through such a period. Secondly, when I think of I think of people around me, I think, oh, you know what, who can I actually call that will just understand that I'm just feeling shitty, and then secondly, I'm thinking if I did call someone, are they going to judge me, or whatever? And I guess we're evolving into services like yourself
Mm,
where you can actually call a professional to talk to.
mm,
But you know what? I'm not being um, funny, but I always wonder. Uh, when I see counselors, I tend to see counselors are predominantly white, and I tend to think, would would a white counselor really understand my problems um, as a black man? Because sometimes the way I'm feeling is actually due to the frustration of some of the systematic racism that goes on
mm-hmm.
that around me. You know, when you see things, you suffer from a bit of trauma, but also
Yeah,
when you experience things,
It just
yeah.
you feel a little way.
sorry, it just made me think of a question for the ladies. Actually, that's a
Yeah,
good
go
one.
ahead.
Reference what he's just said
Yeah.
about being cancelled, looking at like of the Caucasian to the blacks.
Yeah.
What about yourselves? Do you do you cancel any whites? And do you feel also that do you not would you not understand them as well? So vice versa. Let's switch it around.
Um, I think it depends on the individual. All my clients base so far has been black, so I haven't had.
Mm.
I mean, in my in my this I guess in
Sovereign.
in sovereign care, all my current clients are all black,
Mm.
and you know, they were some of them came through another black therapist actually, who they have requested for a counselor that's black. So
So
she's referred them to me because she's obviously overwhelmed as well with her current group. But I think it depends on the individual. You know, counseling is counseling, but I guess it's important if for that identification.
mhm,
So you know, if a brother is talking to me about certain systematic oppression that he's going
facing,
through,
yeah, mhm,
I'm probably, you know,
more
being able to
connected to that.
identify it and
Mhm.
connected to that, and we can kind of, you know, really kind of discuss it in a very open manner. Whereas probably if you go to a white counselor, um that connection may not be there, and there might be that wariness of, why am I explaining something to somebody that doesn't really understand what I'm going through. But for me, why I think it may not necessarily be that important, because I do addictions counseling as well. So I used to counsel, you know, people that abuse drugs and alcohol, and I don't come from that background.
Mm.
And I do. It's a question that I we always kind of discuss, me and my clients, is about, well, Miss, how would you know what it feels like? You've never done it, and I'm
Mm.
like, even if I did it, I wouldn't experience it the same way as you.
Yes.
You know, so just because then, you know, just because I haven't kind of walked that particular path, it doesn't necessarily mean I can't offer effective coping strategies. Yeah, I may not understand it, which I think sometimes is an issue for the person that's going through it, because if you've gone through it, then they can be like, oh, you understand the path that I'm talking about, you understand the struggles that I'm going through, you understand how, you know, that particular itch that I'm feeling to go and get it, you've been there, you understood it, so you can probably relate more. So it's more about relating to the experience, to the struggle, rather than offering the coping strategies and stuff like that. But you know, I think it's important that the options are there for individuals, you know, for our, you know, our community. And there are loads of, you know, black therapies out there, and I think at the moment we are recognizing how important we are to our community. I think whereas before we were offering, most of our services are being taken up by the white community rather than the black community. And I think most of us as counselors now are going out there, actually promoting our services to the community and letting them know that actually we are here, we can support you, we do understand the struggles, you know, that you're going through. So we are making, I guess we're making seats at the table for ourselves now, so our community can know that, yeah, you know, you can speak to somebody who looks like you, who has experienced similar things like you, and who can understand some of the struggles that you're going through.
You know, I hear what you're saying, and actually, I'm just trying to think. So, because you mentioned, because there are certain experiences you haven't had, that doesn't mean you can't provide counseling.
Hmm.
And I get that's right. I'm just thinking though, however, so I'm referencing some of the things Dr. Umar Johnson was saying.
Yeah.
I may not necessarily be saying it exactly how he was saying it, but
Mm.
I'm not in no way as intelligent as him to, or articulate as him. But yeah, he was saying something along the line that, is it possible for sorry, it isn't possible for black people to get counseling from white people because capitalism or white society is being molded in a way to um, to oppress black people and make us feel small and make basically it causes the problems that we have, that we suffer from. That's the mental problems that we suffer from. So then how could we attempt to seek solution from the very same system that caused the problem?
Oof.
So for me, that's why I'm thinking, and it resonated to me because those,
Mm,
before I heard that, those were my thoughts. I
mm,
always like, when I'm seeing things, I'm going through things, I'm
mm,
thinking, if I went to a white counselor, is that white person really going to understand? I'm not trying to say they won't be a professional. they will definitely be a professional. But I'm just saying, will they really be able to relate to me, like on a level, as we say it?
Yeah, and I think the simple answer will be no, clearly, because they haven't walked your path. They haven't been treated like a black man or a black woman. So their journey is completely unrelatable in that sense to what our journey will be. So the identification, the relatability to our experiences, they won't be able to do that.
Yeah, and I was trying to bring it back to also what you said before. I think, however, the other way around, I don't think it's the same, because I think, we as black people, we haven't created a system to repress white people. So if a do you know what I mean? So if a white person is seeking counseling from a black counselor, they are not seeking solution from the problem. So I feel like maybe it's just the one way where we can't seek solution from the very problem that put us. Not to say that white counselor I'm talking to is the person that did whatever
Clearly,
to
yeah,
myself. But
yeah.
I don't know if you understand what I'm saying now.
Yeah, I mean, I
Yeah.
think I understand. I guess it's my understanding is it's easier, I guess, for a white individual to go to a black counselor and still kind of, I guess, have their needs met, or they find it easier to be able to talk through some of their issues. Whereas it will be difficult for a black individual to go to a white counselor and be able to do the same thing. So and I do get that. I mean, it'll be interesting to see if your viewers are able to kind of see if they've had that experience and what their experiences have been in that. But like I said, and the reason part of the reason why we're here is to let your audience, majority will be black, that there are black counselors out there. We are, like I said, now making space at the table for ourselves. You just need to probably do a little bit more research, but there is I think the social medias are really, really active now anyway in promoting black businesses. And part of that is black counseling and psychotherapists, businesses there as well. So there's a lot of us out there and we are available, for your services. So just do a little bit of research. Yeah, we're definitely out there.
So that leads us onto counseling then, because I know we've talked about counseling, but let's get it defined from professional. What exactly is counseling? Because there's a stigma to counseling,
Mm-hmm.
and I also used to support that stigma too.
Okay.
I have to admit. But
Here-
before I
Here's
go
why he's
into
that
that,
guy, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. If you didn't know, here it goes.
yeah,
Please.
no, but before I go into that, let's have a professional explain to us what is
Okay.
counseling and how can it actually help us.
It's talking therapy, really. What we offer is talking therapy. So we're not necessarily there to fix your problem or fix you or tell you what to do. It's about exploring um the things that you're going through. So if you're struggling with anxiety, it's about exploring when that start, what happened, what understanding what your triggers are, understanding how you manage to get yourself, what helps you to get out of that state when you do get into it. So it's trying to talk with the individual to actually find out what triggers them into going into that, and actually what their coping strategies are, and exploring new coping strategies if they feel like they haven't got any at the moment. So it's can get deep because you're asking questions that may be really uncomfortable for the individual, that they're not really, and that's when they will find out they're probably not ready to explore, not ready to go out, to go there. Like you said, sometimes you feel down in the dumps, but you don't know why. So having to ask you certain questions to really go into that can freeze people at times because they're not really ready to go there. So that's where the patients come in. That's where sometimes the homework comes in, give them little things to go and do, and, come back and discuss it and how that makes them feel. So it's really about talking and exploring your state of mind, your emotions, your triggers, probably when you started noticing things, and noticing things around you that may trigger you, but also looking at what your strengths are and how you can, what are the positive things around you that could help you cope when you're in that state. Finding out who you can call when you're in that state, what to do when you're in that state, how to keep yourself safe and keep others safe when you're in that state. So it is a whole just about exploring different issues.
Yeah, well, that's a nice explanation. Did you have anything else to add,
Yeah, like
Mariama?
she said it all. It's talking therapy. It's exploring your feelings, your emotions, finding a positive outcome.
And it's funny because when you say talking therapy, I sometimes think back about the stigma I had. So, me
Serious.
being a bit of a Scrooge, sometimes is what people call me. I like to
Scrooge.
say I'm an economist.
Okay.
And my mom always say he's an economics. I like to call it that. And for me, I always think, to be honest, it's too expensive. It's a waste of money. So I always try to find affordable means, i.e., by trying to call someone who is close to me to talk. But obviously, when you call that person, it's like you pay for what you get. Do you know what I mean? Like I can call this guy.
Mariama he's going for you, by the way. Yeah.
He used to talk to me all the time.
Oh,
I used to, yeah, I used to actually.
You're not helping him much because look, he's throwing you under the bus. He's throwing you under the bus.
All I'm saying is, you get what you pay for.
Yeah, there you go. You see that?
I
He
call
wasn't paying at the time.
I called a lot to talk to him, and I'm waiting for him to say, yeah, bro. So what's up? What's wrong? How you feeling? And so he's like, bro, yeah, man. Can you believe that this happened? I'm like, right, I called you to talk about my issues. And the guy, you know what I mean? He hugs the conversation for like 5-10 minutes,
Yes.
and after he's like, I'll call you back. Jeez.
I think what we need to do is normalize people finding counselors to talk to. For example, if you're sick, you go to the doctor. We should normalize it just the same way. Your mental health is just as important as your physical health. You should take it just as serious, because you can have a breakdown in the middle of the street, and sometimes people have done that. And what do people do? Take out the phone and start recording. Probably somebody just stripping out naked or shouting. Nobody knows exactly what's going on, and probably that's something that they've internalized. And at that split second, they
Blew
just
up.
express themselves.
Jeez.
I like that word, normalize counseling
And
services.
then
That's so
trauma
true.
bonding, which we need to stop doing instead of going to your family
What
or
trauma?
friends.
What do you call
Trauma
it?
bonding.
Trauma bonding.
Trauma bonding.
Yeah.
Hey.
New word,
So what that
people.
is,
Go ahead. Yeah.
you talk to your circle, your friends or your family about situations that you're going through. And likely they're also going through the same thing. So you're coping with each other's pain by giving yourself wrong information to make yourself feel comfortable about the situation you're going through.
Wow. Well, don't trauma bond me. That's why you're calling me for problems. I'm calling. I'm
You're going through your own trauma. You're rebounding that trauma bonding.
Wow.
Yeah.
So like you're talking about even the systematic racism, because a platform has never been created where we can express ourselves to people that look like us about what we're going through. And people having seen it difficult to go maybe to a Caucasian therapist or psychologist to talk about their problems, because either be told you're the angry black woman,
Mm.
categorized into a box, and nobody really understanding you.
Your prescribed medication.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's not about
Not
prescribing
necessary.
medication.
Yeah. I mean, when you're talking about pricing and stuff like that, I know it's your GP can refer you to free services, but then again, maybe that is not the services as a black individual that you want. So you obviously you have Samaritans who you can dial anytime when you are in that state of anxiety, depression, or whatever it is that you're going through. And I think we, most of us, as therapists or counselors, are continually doing courses and updating our knowledge and trying to find the latest studies, and those courses aren't free. So we are really kind of investing in ourselves so we can be the best we can to the people we offer our services to, so it may come across as expensive to some people, but actually I think what we give, what we believe what we give is really valuable. So I think, some people, again, I think go around and pay so much money for private medical care, for their physical health, but actually you have to look at the same thing about investing on your mental health is just as important. And sometimes you value things more when you pay for them than when you get it for free. A lot of us, as you've said in the beginning, is we're entrepreneurs. We are trying to build something, or and some of us have got our other jobs that we're using kind of that resources to try and build ourselves up as well. So, you can, if you are struggling, I guess you find a counselor. They may be able to lower the price for you depending on what you're going through. But I think, just like you probably would respect a Caucasian's, counselor's price without, you know, kind of
Questioning.
arguing or questioning it, is the same thing that you need to do to a black therapist, a counselor. Is we do the same training that they do. So
I like what you said, though, everything you said, but I like in particular when you said we as individual we need to invest in our mental health. Because for me, I didn't see it like that. Because you invest in your teeth. Some of us buy £200 toothbrushes.
And
You invest in
at least the
your
200
shoes.
pound brushes last long. Some of us pay £100 to whiten their teeth, and then they have to do it again the week after.
every
That's true.
yeah,
Some of
yeah,
us do that.
yeah,
You know?
yeah, yeah,
And but you invest in your teeth, you invest in your clothes, you invest in your women, you invest in so many things, your men. But we need to invest in our mental health. You
yeah.
don't actually think your mental health it's something that needs invested in. And maybe it's from where I've been brought up. It's just like, suck it in and just get on with it.
Mm,
You're
mm,
thinking what then needs to be invested in if that's my attitude. But
yeah.
that's not right, though, is it?
No, it's not. And I think that this is part of the reason why we're having this talk again as well. It's about actually letting people understand that it's okay to feel those emotions that you're going through when you're feeling down, when you feel like you don't want to see anybody. It's okay, they're emotions, but don't wallow in them. Try and find out what's causing those so you can begin to see it when it develops and kind of nip it in the bud and know what you need to do. Develop, coping really good coping strategies to help you get out of that as soon as you realize that you're getting into it. Yeah. So back in the days, we used to, you used to hear boys don't cry and suck it in, and you're acting like a sissy, or stuff like that. Even
Oh,
with us is, as women, is when you try and express how you feel, you are labeled the angry black woman. So you try not to fit into that category, so you suppress a lot of your emotions, and then before you know it, you're displaying, really unhealthy behaviors that gives you that negative label anyway that you're trying to kind of run away from. So it's not a bad thing to go through those emotions, but it's about how do we cope with them effectively, keep ourselves safe and keep our families and our loved ones safe as well.
So, people, you hear it, invest in your mental health. And if you would like to invest in your mental health, and contact Martina or Mariama at Sovereign Care and Counselling Services, you can find them at
www.sovereigncareandcounselling.co.uk.
one more time for people in the back.
www.sovereigncareandcounselling.co.uk. You can also give us a call on 07593720007. So yeah. We're also on the social
On
feeds.
Instagram as Sovereign Care and Counseling Services. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, we're everywhere.
Perfect. And I like the way you also said that if you can't afford the services, there are other means you can basically get help. So you've given out some of the options there,
but
and
that
you've
was
also
means
said,
not to them.
sorry,
That was means not to them.
sorry.
That was means not to them.
You mean?
That was other means of not going to them.
Yeah,
If
that's
you
what I
can't
mean.
afford it,
No,
yeah.
no, that's what I mean.
NHS, you can
Yeah.
go to your GP. There's
Yeah.
also Black Southall Black Sisters, and if you just go on Google, so many information, Black services. Um,
But you guys' services are good price anyway, so it's affordable.
thank you.
Yeah,
We
it's
try to make it
affordable. However, you have to. What I'm saying is, I like the way that they've also mentioned other options, because there are people
If you
that
can't
can't
afford it,
afford
you're
it.
on job seekers allowance. Save little by little and go to pay the right thing, because like that guy Don says, you get what you pay for.
Yeah, but I like the way you've also kind of, for those people who can't afford things, you kind of shared options for them. I was gonna say, actually, the options that you shared in terms of GP referral and things like that. I understand that your business currently, do not take on do not take on GP referrals. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And could you tell us why that is? Sorry.
So at the moment we're quite young, so we're just kind of building ourselves up. So we haven't really approached any other businesses yet, or GPs to kind of link up with them. So we're trying to kind of be strong at the moment, and then we can look at looking at those other ways of getting um clients.
And also, that's I was talking to you before, and I remember you mentioning, you would love to take on some of those, but you don't also want to compromise the quality of service you can deliver,
Yeah.
because at the moment it's only
It's
you
only me,
that's the
yeah,
full-time
yeah, yeah.
counselor,
Mariam is
right?
currently in her last year of completing her course. And yeah, I'm the only counselor at the moment practicing, and I also have a full-time job, so I need to um be able to be fully 100% committed in what I'm doing and not try and cut services because I've got a queue of clients to.
For us, it's all about quality over quantity. And we want to offer the best services for our clients. And when the time is right, we'll work with other organizations and making sure that we reach, especially the Black community, um, most.
You guys have done really well. Seriously,
I
Thank
think a
you.
lot of
you've
people
come
can
this far
learn from
already.
them.
From yeah, you've come this far already. We can only see good things coming from you
Thank
guys.
you. It's really nice
Seriously,
to
and we
hear.
can't wait to see you wear that. Well, with Corona, we don't even know if you're gonna wear the hat and do the whole thing in the end.
I
But
That's
know.
Baby Marie, yeah.
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
we can't wait to see that. Let us know
We're
how
gonna
that
celebrate.
goes.
I'm gonna come here and we're gonna
Yes,
do this
please.
and we're gonna celebrate. And yes, and the fact is, with Sovereign Care, we're not just doing like 3 months courses just to get a certificate or just trying to make money. We're actually doing degrees, masters, and hopefully PhDs. So we're
Jesus,
going hard to make sure that this business leaves, that it provides and it does what it's supposed to do for our people.
in a
Like,
shell.
we are important. Black mental health matters. We
Absolutely.
Yes,
matter. And I just want people to know that you matter. Don't be around people that bring you down, talk down to you, make you feel low about yourself. You can take yourself away from that equation. Where you're not being served, get up peacefully.
have some self-esteem, people. Esteem of yourself.
Well, hopefully that's what the services will be there for. A lot of us grow up in households where we are seen and not heard, and you're told what to do. So that affects your self-esteem as an individual anyway, growing up, and
Mm.
you try and seek others' opinion to validate who you are. So hopefully, with services that are there to help you increase your self-esteem and your self-worth. So yeah, hopefully that's what we're there to do, to make individuals kind of really believe in themselves and their self-worth.
I'm not sure if we covered this, but are you guys like, obviously once everything is set in you like you finished, you've graduated, and you've gone on to PhDs and so on, do you guys visualize just being in the UK, or you visualize, because you said you're from back home in Sierra Leone? Because I think back home, I don't think there's much counseling going on over there. Yeah.
No, it's not as wide as, I think there are spouts of it around. It's not as wide. No, so we hope to introduce it to Sierra Leone, definitely where we're from. But we're hoping that mental health will be discussed in the kind of whole continent of Africa. Mariama told you about the dream about building up this, but my dream when I went into the addictions field is to hopefully be able to build a rehab in Sierra Leone for individuals that are abusing
So
substances,
there's no such thing
alcohol.
at the moment. No one even
Not that I
practicing.
not that I am aware of, to be honest. So yeah.
And you know what? That actually leads us on to some stats I've got for you, and I think it's quite fitting that we are
Mr.
talking about
Stats.
Africa
Men
and Sierra
lie,
Leone.
Mm.
women lie,
But
but
stats don't lie. That's it. So we know that one of the severe consequences of not tackling mental health issues is suicide. We also know that 1 in 4
my belly's just
usually.
going. Wait, oh, my belly's just going crazy right now.
We
I
can't hear
no, I
I
could
didn't
anything.
hear
eat
it.
no breakfast.
I
Yeah,
heard. I heard.
Do they
I
have
heard
food
it
here?
before, but I didn't hear it just now.
yeah.
Maybe it's because I've got this.
Sorry.
Okay.
Go
We also know that 1 in 4 suffers from mental health. And I want to kind of talk about suicides and suicide rates. Now, I looked up some stats in the UK, and suicide rates has been going up. We had a slight dip in 2019, but suicide rates in the UK are usually between 5 to 7,000 a year. In 2019, last year, it was 5.6 thousand deaths that 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 were attributed to suicides, and that represent on the data basically 11 deaths per every 100,000 of the population. So 11 people are dying every 100,000. Then I thought, you know what, I actually want to look into the difference between suicide rates across Europe here and also across Africa, and also between men and women. And what's very I don't know,
Surprising.
yeah, so I don't know if it's surprising or not. I don't even know what's the word, but basically, um, more men die from suicide. A lot more men die from suicide than women in
Yeah.
the
That's not
UK.
surprising for me. I would have think the same thing.
Yeah, but it's a massive. So let me give you the stats. Around 17 men would die every 100,000 of the population from suicide, whereas for women, it's like every 5. So it's almost, yes, 3 times. 3 times more men die from suicide
I
than
don't know
women.
if the men are gonna shoot me for this one, you know, but that just shows women are stronger built.
It's not about
Yeah.
I believe so
I
because
think it's about us women. We talk. I think
yeah,
women talk more. I mean, sometimes
you'd
even
be
though,
surprised. Pillow talk. Drake talk about pillow talk. Men are talking in the pillows
yeah. Well, I think
with the
yeah.
concubines. They're talking.
Well, you know what? I don't know. I think for women, we talk a lot. Even though Mariama did talk about trauma bonding, even though that's unhealthy, or we tend to talk about what is going on with us, with our female friends,
Gossiping.
whether we get the right advice or not. We have that space where we can talk about what's going on with us, and I guess that's a bit of a coping strategy. Whereas a lot of men may feel judged, may feel they might come across or be deemed as weak,
Mm,
not man enough, and
mm.
all those kind of negative labels. So they they won't tend to open up. They won't tend to speak, and the only way out they see is
Sometimes the
not being
abuser
here.
is the woman. The pressure.
Absolutely, domestic violence amongst with men's quite high as
Yeah.
well. So, but it's encouraging men to be able to seek help. It's not just women. I think actually,
I
I
need
would
that
encourage more
£500
men.
weave. Hey.
and that's the negative stigma or connotation that's put on men to be the provider. And in the age of social media now, everybody wants to put on this facade that
They've got
they
it.
cannot
They've got
afford.
it. Yes.
And it's usually the significant other who's got all the pressure to provide that for the woman and the children. So sometimes we know of men having 3 or 4 kids with 3 or 4 different women. So imagine trying to please all those people. Nobody asks you how you're getting the money from, where you're getting the money from, as long as
Nope.
you're providing. So sometimes when you can't meet
That
those
pressure.
needs, the pressure comes on you. Like Martina was just saying, men, they don't really express themselves to their fellow men about what they're going through. And sometimes the easier way for people to cope when they can't cope anymore is suicide.
I mean, it's sad that they can't even talk to their significant other, their wives,
Yeah.
Most likely they're
because
getting the
again,
pressure from them.
yeah,
Yeah.
but also it's
But
about
maybe they
fear
won't
of that
understand.
judgment, of not being understood,
Yeah.
of not being man enough, of not being able to be the provider and everything that society says a man should be. And if you don't feel adequate enough,
Yeah.
your thought
But
is,
even yourself as a woman, how would you feel if your significant other came to you with an issue and you saw that issue to be, well, obviously with you guys, you're trained in this job, but I can't even put you out of that equation. But let's just ask the question anyways. How would you feel if your significant other came and told you a problem that you deemed as something very simple? How would you go about saying to them, "Shut up, go back and you're a man up"?
no, I think again, I think part of our training will come into that. Obviously
Do you use your
we've
training
had to learn.
in even your everyday life?
Well, you've gone. You have to. It's hard. It's hard. It's sometimes hard not to. So if I mean, I would love for my significant other to actually come to me and say, I don't. This is what's happening. I don't know what to do about it, and we can sit and talk about it. Rather than, I think what would anger me more is if I hear it somewhere else, and I'm
Mm.
like, so, oh, yeah, you didn't feel comfortable enough. You
But
know, you can't talk to
that's already
me.
no, but that's already the problem though. Because you saying, "Oh, you couldn't talk to me," is already it scares us
No, but I
because
mean, I
it makes
think,
us kind of think,
I,
"What have I done?"
I think, I don't think it's that bad. I think as women, we should try to be able to make the atmosphere or the
Mm,
space conducive enough to have those difficult conversations with us, and it's both ways.
yes.
Because I think if I'm not able to at least try and assist you or try and look at it in a different way, it's for me personally, it's not good because you're struggling out there trying to find ways that you think you can please me when actually you can tell me and I'm like, actually that's not what I need from you. This is what.
So yeah, you hear that, men? Start talking, and not just to your baby mothers, because they don't want to hear that anyway. Start talking, invest in your mental health, seek professionals. And it doesn't mean there's something wrong with you if you are talking to a professional, or it doesn't mean that you're weak. Because I feel like for us men, sometimes when we are sharing our thoughts, we start to feel like, oh, we're weak or there's something wrong with us.
And there isn't. I think there is strength in knowing that you actually need help and seeking that help that you need.
And thanks to the likes of Jay-Z, Taraji P, Ensign, they're all promoting mental health and counselling. So these people talk to people about their own mental health, and there is so much more people that do. So don't feel if you do there's something wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with any of us. We all need somebody to talk to away from our family, friends, and social.
Yeah, and we're talking about the fact that you have a vision of trying to tackle mental health back home. And I think when we think of back home, I feel as though a lot of us don't really feel like there's a mental health issue back home, or in particular, a suicide issue, because we feel as though, I don't know, it's the African mentality sometimes that, we won't really like black people don't commit suicide or things like that, or especially Africans don't commit suicide. But when you actually look at the suicide rates, and I'll give you some right now, basically, let's take it back to 2016 because this is the only data I was able to get, a comparison data. Otherwise, I would have had to pay for it. I'm an economist. um, so in 2016,
Yes.
in the UK, the rate of suicide rates to the population was, let's say call it 8, round it up to 8. So 8 deaths per every 100,000 of the population. Now, if we go into Sierra Leone, what do you think the rate? What would you guess the rate could be in Sierra Leone?
Gosh, I don't know. I mean,
Just give us a number quickly. Everyone, give us a number.
Higher or lower? Or
Just
lower?
give us a number.
I think probably a bit higher.
Come on, number, quick.
4.
10.
Baby Marie.
I don't know because
12.
Give,
She
just
said
give us a
12.
number.
She
Give
said
us
12.
a number.
She said 12. 13.
Just say it.
She said 14.
Just give it to me, baby.
I'm just trying to think on logic. Okay, I say probably around 10.
Around 10. Well, you know what? Sadly, and this is a serious topic, so
Yeah.
forgive our humor. There is 16 deaths per
Jeez.
every 100,000 population.
And that's suicide.
When suicide, yeah. And when you look at male, there are 18 men.
I don't trust that.
Why don't you trust that?
Because back home, someone dies, they'll blame it on anything.
No, I think actually it would have been the other way around. They wouldn't back home. They would or Africa, I guess, they wouldn't put suicide down. They would have put it to anything else but somebody killed themselves.
Seriously.
Mhm.
So I think that's wow. That's
Because again,
Yeah.
it's like, what would people think?
Why Ceylon people? Why are you killing yourselves back home? It's
I
beautiful.
don't think it's just Sierra Leone. I think it's the whole kind of Africa where we don't really probably tend to recognize or don't want to acknowledge people killing themselves because of
Depression.
being unable to
Situations.
cope. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I'm trying to say. What you just asked, why is people killing themselves? I'm saying there's a stigma because we forget that people over there are going through mental health. People over there are committing suicide,
Yeah.
and that
Yeah.
rate, I'm glad it shocked you because it was
Yes.
meant to.
And
I bet
poverty
you
is
got more.
high.
Yes. Poverty.
Poverty, like people are living in shanty houses. The government really don't care about the people.
Employment opportunities.
They care about themselves. They're already getting paid high wages and they're still stealing from monies that's supposed to be used to help the less developed individuals, children, women, men.
High.
To be honest,
So was the
I haven't
last
got.
president worse?
To be honest, I haven't got any stats to show whether the ex-president was bad or worse because this stats is 2016, and that was actually
That's older.
before
Yeah. Before
the
the new
current
president. Yeah.
president.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I
yeah.
feel like sometimes it's easy to blame everything on the current president, but we've had issues from
Of
before.
course.
No,
with all of
absolutely.
them.
I think absolutely. Past, present president, I don't think are very for the people at the moment. And then I think that's the saddest thing around Africa as a continent and its own. You've got very exceptional presidents, but majority of them aren't for the people.
Yeah.
And that's
So just to reiterate, for me, I mean, it's good for everyone to have different views.
Yeah.
Me, I'm happy that we have a new president. I still want to see what more he can
Well,
do.
we're not happy.
But I do understand that sometimes in governments things move slowly. Also, you also have quite a few corrupt individuals around. But let's see what the president continues to do. Let's move on to our neighbors now. Our next door neighbor is Liberia,
okay.
and then we've got our big bro, Nigeria.
Nigeria.
The suicide rate is just as bad in Nigeria as it is in Sierra Leone. It's actually 17 deaths per 100,000 of the population.
Jeez, and that's a lot of people. over there,
Liberia
bro.
is around 13.
Okay.
In Nigeria, however, what was kind of remarkable, what stood out to me in the rates was that men and women were actually the rate of men and women killing themselves were equal.
Wow.
And that was like
Where in Liberia?
in Nigeria,
Nigeria.
and that was one of a few.
Wow.
Well, actually, Nigeria and Liberia,
Mm.
which was unusual. I mean, in Sierra Leone, there wasn't much of a difference.
Yeah.
It's 18 to 14. So, but in those places, Nigeria and Liberia, it was more like 13 or 13.7 to 13.6. Or in Nigeria, it's like 17 to 17, let's say.
Wow.
Bro, you know what I'm going to
That's
ask you? What about Congo?
Well,
You know what? You should always see what I don't like about him. You should always have Sierra Leone, Congo next, or Congo, Sierra Leone. We care about the others, but talk about them after, because we're dealing with me and you here
Yeah.
straight away.
Yeah, well, I like to look at West Africa first. So
No,
we've
you
gone
see.
through Sierra Leone, we've gone through Liberia, we go through our big bro, Nigeria. We also go for our big cousins, Ghana. And Ghana, I'm happy to say it's a lot lower. It's around 8.7 deaths per 100,000. Of course, I'm not happy with that rate.
Ghana, yeah,
It's still
Ghana does well
high
on a lot of
because the
things.
UK, we're at 7.6. So Ghana's at 8.7. That's still high.
Mm.
Senegal, 11.8. I don't know, it's a bit high. Congo, let's go to East and Central Africa now.
It's too
Congo
late now.
is at 9.7 deaths per every 100,000. Congo has a very high male
Male.
dying from suicides than female. 15 male per 100,000 of the population die compared to 4.9 females. So
wow,
Congolese
that's a
men
remarkable
are
difference.
really
You can see why I
suffering.
said that I feel a certain way of, unloading,
Yeah, yeah,
you know.
yeah.
But at the top of that list, which makes me sad as well, is my people in Uganda. The Uganda uh, suicide rates are very high, 20 deaths per 100,000
They're
of
going
the
through a lot as well
population.
in terms of.
Well, to be honest, I think the Uganda government is really good. Well, when I say it's really good, I think the president is good. I think in terms of when I
Again,
say good, I think he has done a lot of good. I think opinions are going to differ. I
yeah,
know there are corrupt officials everywhere. I know there
yeah,
are things that they could have done better, but there's clearly an issue that still needs to be solved,
yeah,
which is 20 people are dying per every 100,000.
wow.
Comment below if you think these governments have done good, because I don't live in Uganda. I wouldn't really know. So comment down below, people, and tell us what you think of your governments. Are they actually doing good? Are they helping you? One thing that was good from the East Africa region is Kenya. Kenya was actually quite low, 5 deaths per 100,000. I'm sure Kenya has other issues, but suicide seems to be quite low there. And let me just pay reference quickly to Southern Africa. So South Africa is around 12, 13. Zimbabwe is quite high as well, around 19. I'm not too sure
Wow.
why Zimbabwe and Uganda are quite high in terms of deaths per suicide, but you're kind of seeing the trend here. And I want to also pay reference to Eritrea and Somalia. And one thing in particular was that stood out to me was the suicide rates in Somalia isn't as high as the rest of the countries we've just spoken about. So suicide rates in Somalia is 8.3 deaths per 100,000, and I know Somalia has had a lot of civil wars and things like that, but I mean 8.3 is still high. It's still higher than the UK,
yeah,
but it's not as high as Sierra Leone or them
yeah.
places. Eritrea is like 13.8 deaths per 100,000. But you kind of
Wow.
see that across Africa, Eritrea, Somalia, West, East, there is a problem with people dying from
Yeah.
suicides that we don't really take into consideration.
No, and I
Wow.
think that it isn't recognized, and I think we need to, these are the issues that we really need to be talking about and exploring as why people are committing suicide. I mean, there may be various reasons for why, but I think if we begin to acknowledge the fact that suicides are happening in our continent, and then we can then begin to explore why they're happening and then what support we need to put in place, be it the government or be it just individuals just really kind of giving our support to our fellow brothers and sisters. I think we really just need to start by acknowledging the fact that our brothers and sisters are actually killing themselves. And then we can start looking at the reasons why we're doing this. It is, it is sad when we're looking at our continent and the fact that, especially like in West East Africa, the numbers are so high. We really need to start addressing these issues.
Yeah, and I think we could also look to some of the Caribbean countries because they tend to have a low suicide rate. Barbados is only 0.4, one of the
Oh,
lowest I saw.
wow.
Jamaica's like 2 deaths per 100,000. Grenada is 1.7. But there are other Caribbean countries which are not doing so good, like Suriname and Trinidad. Suriname's like 23.2, which is very high. And so yeah, they have I think there's a lot of people I've met from Suriname in Holland. They tend to, so it was a Dutch colony, so they tend to be
Holland.
there. Yeah. Trinidad is quite high, 12.9. Yeah, so I do think those other Caribbeans I've said last has a few things to sort, but
Yeah.
the others like Barbados, Jamaica are quite low. One thing I wanted to add is also some of the Asian countries very quickly. Um, and one thing that actually stood out to me, because I feel like this country gets a lot of negative press quite a lot, and that is Pakistan. And the suicide rate in Pakistan is only 3. So 3 deaths per 100,000. That's not good because 3 people every 100,000 are dying. But what I'm saying is it's less than the UK. And
Absolutely.
Pakistan is usually portrayed quite negative because of terrorism and things
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
But their suicide rates are quite low. India, it's actually quite high. India is like 16.5
I'd like to
per
know,
100,000.
did you check more women than men?
I did. It's more men than women.
Oh,
Everywhere you go around the
It's
world,
more
it was more
men. I
men
think
than women.
it is this stigma around men talking and or
Being
that
strong.
is
this
scaring the
thing
hell
that
out
we
of
have
me.
around men being
Strong.
strong and yeah.
I don't see us being strong.
Well, no, it's their society.
Physical.
No, but society has this idea of what a man should be, and I
Mm.
think where you then compare yourself as an individual to all these things that a man should be, you feel
Mm.
inadequate, and you're like, well, if I can't, I mean, men, please tell me if I'm off the radar, but where you can't fit, you feel inadequate, you feel like, oh, I can't provide, I'm not worth, this human being that they're talking about. People are probably better off me not being here anyway because I'm not making a
Jeez.
difference. Do you know what I mean? So it's a dark place to be because you can't see any way out other than you not being in the lives of those people that actually really need you.
I can
You
imagine.
know?
So this was
So
a Black History Month special, and we particularly highlighted the need for the Black community to seek counselling, seek
Yeah.
professional counselling, because
Yeah.
it can help. We've heard, and seen that we have issues not only here but also back home and also other communities. I think you
Yeah.
can see that mental health is not actually just a Black issue. Other cultures, other communities are also suffering from this. So I think we all have an obligation to help each other and
Absolutely.
also to seek professional help. Now, I also want to kind of pay my thoughts to those people in Nigeria who has been subject to police brutality.
Mhm.
Now,
Mhm.
I haven't really researched fully into this. However, what I would say is I have seen stories of people saying they've lost loved ones due to the heavy treatment of police, the bad treatment of police, and for me, that's an issue. So I want to pay tribute to those people, and I want everybody to kind of research into this and speak up about it, really, because something needs to be done.
Absolutely.
And for usually we have a little that marketing talk, and I think all I can say really and truly is boy, people speak to each other, talk to someone, call up someone, find out how they're doing,
Absolutely.
and don't judge. And if you
Mm.
want to seek advice or anything, we've got professional counselors.
Yes, the details will be below.
Yeah, please get in touch. If we cannot help, we can definitely refer you to other Black therapists that can provide you with the help that you need. But as the Don said, it's really important that we start investing in our mental health. We are important, as a community. You're important to us. We're important to each other. So please, let's seek and not be ashamed. We are trying to break the stigma around mental health. There's nothing negative about it. It is about knowing your weaknesses and how you can cope with those when you're in a bad place.
Martina and Mariama, thank you so much for joining us. Martina and Mariama, people, there's Instagram, the socials are at the bottom. Please follow them on Instagram. Like, subscribe to this if you like. If you like this this episode that we did, and if you like our content,
Definitely.
Interact with us. Let us know.
Yeah.
know. What we might have missed as well. What we didn't ask the ladies. Let us know.
We can come back.
Oh, that
you
sounds.
are welcome.
Yes.
No, we're happy to come back and have this discussion. That the guy said, please do get in contact, do get in touch. Let us know what topics you do want to hear more around the Black community, around mental health, and we will do the best that we can.
Yeah, because remember, Black History Month for the Lok and Don is every single month.
South of France feeling good, honey's jumping. UK, US feeling too. Let's get it poppin'. From Dubai to Congo, if you wanna party, let's go. If she give it, then I'll take it all. I can't even say your name. I don't care, I'm just so into you, baby. I've never been to Saint Tropez. I don't even know the words I'm gonna say. Gotta find the best French words I know. Gotta find the best French words I know. Gotta find the best